Ben, you had the NBA draft Wednesday night and last night. I don't really know how to feel about this whole draft. I just haven't, to be honest with you, and I want to hear your opinion about this as well. I haven't been excited about the last couple NBA drafts. Like this one really didn't excite me that much. I know your son's got Kaman Malawach, if I pronounce that right. The whole Kevin Durant trade for you guys to get that pick there from the Rockets. And then, of course, Cooper Flagg going 1 overall. But, what's your biggest takeaway from this draft as a whole from rounds 1 and 2?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a loose cannon, so apologize to your listeners.
So
That's kind of my brand.
Yeah.
ESPN does a really shoddy job of doing the draft. They do a really poor job. They're looking for, and I guess, it's not a terrible thing, but they're looking for the heartstrings moment for legitimately every single draft pick. And I'm not going to lie to you. I don't really care. Unless there's like a legitimate connection, someone died and, it helped take them to the next level and it helped encourage them but I get it. His mom's proud. His mom's crying. Like, good for her. But this isn't her moment. This is her son's moment. And ESPN also just did a really bad job of the second round picks where things were getting traded left and right. And they're like, this is the Golden State Warriors are on the clock, but this is actually going to the 76ers. Like that kind of stuff is done really poorly.
Yeah.
But that part, I'm not so much is blame for ESPN because that's the NBA's fault. The NBA won't allow them to put the right hats on, which is like insanity. But overall, like I thought like just the theatership of it all, I thought it was really good. I thought this year's draft was really good because it was a really good draft in terms of the first 8 players could all make an impact on their team with Cooper Flagg in a tier of his own, Dylan Harper in a tier of his own, and then there's that next tier of players. I thought it was really good in terms of the drama of it, but yeah, ESPN to the casual NBA fan does a really, really bad job at the NBA draft, which is crazy because they do a really good job for the NFL draft.
Yeah, no, you everything you said there is accurate. I think my biggest takeaway from that draft is, I really, aside from Cooper Flagg, because he's the poster boy, like everyone knew he was going over number 1 overall. The Mavericks with the whole thing, they were printing his jerseys on Wednesday night already, number 32. Like this was all, planned ahead of time with Cooper Flagg. But my biggest takeaway, the drama side of the NBA draft with the first 5 picks is Ace Bailey. I think he embarrassed himself on a national stage. I really did. I don't know how your agent is allowing you to speak like that before the draft even starts and say, I don't want to work out for those teams. Whoa. You don't have any leisure. You don't have any rope to go and do that. I know you're a great player. You haven't proved anything. So I just really thought that was weird. And then he said he didn't even know the Jazz wanted to draft him, which that was weird. I thought would have been great just as a drama standpoint, as a comical standpoint, if the Philadelphia 76ers would have drafted him instead of VJ Edgecombe, because Paul George, I'm sure you saw a few days ago, had his thoughts to say about the whole Ace Bailey stuff. Like you shouldn't be giving demands and stuff like that. Imagine if the Sixers would have done that. But yeah.
So like what I would say is I'm all for player empowerment to a point because these guys make millions of dollars a year. Like, again, I just don't really care if someone is like Kevin Durant, right? He wanted to go to his preferred destination, the Houston Rockets. My whole thing was like, trade him to the best offer. Now it's kind of hard to get the best offer from a team that knows he doesn't want to be there. But like, if the Raptors are that stupid, trade him to the Toronto Raptors. Like, if I care.
I agree. Yeah.
And it's like, well, Kevin Durant doesn't want to go there. I'm like, okay, what do I care? He makes $150 million every 2 years. So I'm not really worried about it. But the Ace Bailey stuff was interesting. I'm not upset that he was denying workouts because players do that all the time. Like Walter Clayton Jr. denied workouts with teams past 20 because he had a promise from the Heat that he was going at 20.
Which
so like,
he's okay.
It's like, what's the point then? And that all that does is make his draft stock higher. And then you have a team like the Utah Jazz jump the Heat to get him and he makes more money. So like, I get that aspect of it. But first off, the 76ers should have always taken VJ Edgecombe. He was just the better player than Ace Bailey. I have serious concerns about Ace Bailey. First off, he was listed at like 6'10" at Rutgers, and now he's like magically 6'.
Yeah, he doesn't look 6'10". He didn't look 6'10" to me, which is really weird.
So that was weird. It was like, why is Rutgers just lying to people about players' heights? Dylan Harper was the same thing. He was listed as a way taller than he actually was. And at the NBA Combine, both guys were like 4 inches tall or 4 inches shorter, which is obviously a big thing in the NBA. I don't mind him trying to navigate his path if like a team at 10 wanted him.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, I don't care what you do, but whatever team takes you, like, go there.
Yeah.
Because I saw something right now, and I don't really listen to the betting markets
Mhm.
because I think for a large part it's nonsense. But the betting markets was like Ace Bailey's next team, and the Suns were at like plus 400. They were
Of
like the
course.
sixth. They were like the sixth highest one, and
Yeah.
I was like, I'm good. I'm good. I don't want him. I do not want him here. That is someone who I am trying to build a culture after the culture here was so bad. So I don't want this guy here because he's already saying he doesn't want to be here. It's weird. He was trying to steer himself away from the Jazz to go to the Wizards. And
Saw that, yeah.
I don't think either organization is like 5-star, but the Wizards are a 1-star organization.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they
So
just traded Jordan Poole for CJ McCollum with that whole thing there. That doesn't make any sense.
well, there's a lot of different things that doesn't make any sense for the Wizards. They're like people always make fun of the Suns because the Wizards have pick swaps with the Suns
Yeah.
for the first round picks. And I was like, I always tell people, I'm like, okay, yeah. So that would require for the Suns to be worse than the Wizards. And I'm going to go ahead and take 50 years of data that tells me that that's not going to be the case. So I thought it was weird that he was so dead set on going to a dysfunctional organization. The Jazz are right. The Jazz should do everything they can. They just won't trade him. And if Ace Bailey wants to call their bluff and go back again next year, I can almost promise you the dude is going to fall past what he
Oh,
was projected to go because no one wants that headache.
100%. No.
Which is weird because
Now,
he hasn't proved anything. I have serious concerns about Ace Bailey at the next level.
I haven't seen anything from him yet. I mean, this is another thing too from this draft, which I was like, okay, Con Kneppel, right? You can say what you want about him at 4. I don't know. I thought that was really high. That's just my opinion. But I don't think there was a lot of, I don't see from this class. I just don't see it like that. Like there's been a lot of deeper classes where this one here, I just didn't really see it. I don't know. That's just my opinion. That's just how I feel about it. Like
Yeah, I
Kneppel at
like
4, I like him, but I think that's really high. But then again, it's this type of draft.
I like this draft. I thought it was the first 8 guys were all pretty good.
Mhm.
I did think what the Hornets did was kind of interesting. Like they traded Malawach away, and then I'm sorry, they traded
Traded
Mark
Mark
Williams
Williams.
away,
Yeah.
and then let Malawach go past them. So it's not even like they
Yeah.
were trying to fill that position. They don't have any backup centers now. Now they're going with Kalkbrenner in the second round.
Mhm.
I like Konkin. He was the best shooter in the draft and the best like shooter slash prospect because obviously he's younger too. So
Yeah.
I liked him. I didn't mind that being the pick for the Hornets. The thing is you always have to be questionable. You have to always have to question what the Hornets do because they're a dysfunctional organization. I'm going to take a swing and say that the Hornets are going to be a top 5 lottery team again next year because they always
I'm
are.
with you.
So
Absolutely. I mean, listen, they still have LaMelo Ball. He can't stay healthy. You have Brandon Miller who got hurt. He was starting to show signs. He was, definitely starting to play, very well. And now you
yeah, I
just
like
dropped
Brandon Miller.
Kneppel as well, or Con Kneppel. So that's 3 guards right there. And obviously I know like in the NBA, like, if you shoot really well at a high clip in college, you can play your way into a very high draft pick. We've seen in previous years. I mean, of course you had Grayson Allen, Duke, super athletic. You had, what's his name out of Gonzaga there, Corey Kispert. You had him as well. So like these types of guys that can shoot the ball at a very high clip, and they're not the most skilled, they're not the most athletic guys, but man, can they shoot? They find themselves into a very high draft pick. So that's kind of how I see it with Kneppel there as well. I mean, you saw Dalton Connect, he fell to the Lakers at 17 last year. He could have easily been a top 10 pick. I mean, I thought GMs were crazy to let him fall. The Lakers really haven't figured out what they really want to do with him quite yet. Obviously the whole Mark Williams trade, sweepstakes earlier this year. And now you have him coming back. Maybe he's packaging something this summer. Who knows? But yeah, like you said, I mean, those types of guys play themselves into very high draft picks, and hats off to them for doing it.
Yeah, it was just a weird way of like Ace Bailey moving his way around, and then the Charlotte Hornets. Anytime they draft someone, you're like, what are you doing?
What are you
They
doing?
had back-to-back picks in the 33rd and 34th pick in the second round, and the two, like the number 1 player, I think on everyone's board was Rasheed Fleming, Rasheer Fleming, who ended up going to the Suns.
Yeah.
But like, how do you not package your picks and go get another wing? Like every team needs a wing, but they stood pat and got Kalkbrenner and some guy named, I think it was Sonny James, who I'd literally never heard of. But that's what the Hornets do.
James, Duke guy. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't in the light for Duke because obviously Flagg, Proctor, Kneppel.
I like Proctor better. That was a guy who I really liked, but
and he went to the Cavs.
Mhm.
What's his Tyrese Proctor. Yeah, so I want to
Yeah.
ask you this though. From I feel like a lot of the draft was like, just kind of all over the place. But this one here with Portland at 16 with Hansen Yang. Did you see the comparisons with Blazers Nikola Jokic? I don't even really know who this guy is like that. To compare him
Yeah,
to that level
you're
is
asking
insane.
yeah, you're asking the wrong person when it comes to Yang and his comps because he was never someone that I was worried about. I did a lot of
Mhm,
scouting. Now,
mhm.
when people say they did a lot of scouting, I did about an hour and a half per player that I watched. Like, and so
Yeah,
that's not very much. So I scouted players from afar, right? Because the Suns, I didn't know. Like, they had the 29th overall pick, and then it turns out they had the 10th.
the 10th.
So I ended up doing a lot of stuff on players. Yang, I never got around to because I never thought he was going to go that high or be there for the Suns at 29. So that
Mhm.
was interesting. Definitely a player. It's kind of funny to be able to watch because maybe he is like that next guy, but he's aggressive, throw it and passes the ball at a super high clip. But I don't even think that that's like the Jokic thing. I think teams are asking big men to do more than they used to do in the early 2000s, in the
Mhm.
late 2000s when, I was growing up watching basketball. It was like there was for every Yao Ming and Dwight Howard and like all these certain types of guys, Shaq. Now
Yeah.
they're asking players to pass, shoot. They want you to do everything. The real world isn't much different than the NBA. The
Mhm.
reason why um, I shoot my own show, I edit my own show, I make all the social media clips, I do
Same
all
here.
this extra stuff, like
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
because if someone asks me, "Hey, have you ever edited social media clips?" I can be like, "Yep."
Yeah, I
And
have.
the, and it or like, "Have you ever done thumbnails?" Yep.
Yes, I have.
Because in the real world, um, they want you to be able to do everything. They don't want you to
Yeah,
just be able to talk because
yeah.
they'd rather pay you $80,000 a year to
Mhm.
do 5 different jobs than $100,000 a year to 5 different people, $20,000 each
Yep.
to do a job in their own. Like they'd rather just have me do it all. So that's a little, advice to everyone. It doesn't matter what realm you're in.
Yeah.
Journalism, broadcasting, NBA, like do more, not less.
I edit all my own content too, so I totally
Yeah.
understand, and that's why I was gonna ask you about that as well. So, like, listen, I'm with you on that level there as well. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this just a weird draft.